Well, thank you so much, Aurelion, for taking time today to come speak with us. I'm super excited to talk to you today about 20 minutes and your journey with the cloud, DynamoDB, generative AI, all those things we'll get into. But could you start by just quickly telling us about 20 minutes and your role at the company?
Yes, thank you, Alden, for inviting me today. 20 minutes is a French news publisher, one of the biggest here in France. We have around 18 million readers each month. I'm the CTO since 2016, almost 10 years. It's a long life in 20 minutes. And in my team, I have a different profile. I have developers, DevOps, and we have built everything we use to run the business of 20 minutes today, our CMS, our website, application, API, etc.
Yeah, so that's great. So you've probably seen a lot of growth in readership over all of those years. You've been driving the vision and the strategy for the tech at the company for a while now. Can you tell us what sort of motivated you to come to the cloud, or how does the cloud fit into that business strategy?
That was a long time ago. 2016, we started to use Amazon S3, and that was the moment we were thinking of how we can move forward to the cloud. It was some kind of a prehistoric era of cloud, and we didn't decide to lift and shift to the cloud. We decided to redevelop everything. And at that moment, we had that crazy idea, let's do it serverless, full serverless. And as you remember probably, in 2016, serverless was not what serverless is today. And so we started with some Lambda function. We built an API with a Lambda function. And then we are now with a 100% architecture serverless running on AWS.
Wow. So what first convinced you or made you think, man, instead of maybe the staggered migration, like a lift and shift and then a modernization, what convinced you that cloud native, serverless, event-driven architecture was the right move?
That was some kind of a bet, because our top management and our shareholders weren't as advanced as we were in IT, in tech development. So we had to fight, with some people in the board, because we had to convince them that what we have today is a legacy application, it's a monolithic application. It doesn't run well. It costs too much money for what we do and who we are and where we want to go. So that was my main purpose, to convince everything in the top management at 20 minutes to move to the cloud and to choose, not to choose a service provider, but to choose a partner that will be committed to our success too. You know what I mean?
So is that why you decided to build on AWS with cloud native services?
Yes, of course. We discuss with everything in the cloud business, and when we started our discussion with AWS, we find everything we needed to move forward, and not on a technical side, but on a business side. This is why we choose AWS 10 years ago.
Well, thank you. And could you tell us a little bit more about some of what you built on AWS? I know that you built your CMS Storm on AWS Cloud Native infrastructure. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is, what it does, and some of the business impact that you see from it?
Yes. So Storm is a publisher CMS. So it's an application made to answer the question, I have 100 journalists, how can I publish content as quick as possible with the best editorial workflow and in a scalable environment and with the best resilience I can find. So we first started to build an API, a GraphQL API, behind a React application, Storm. This React application is hosted in Amazon S3, and our API, as I said before, is made of some Lambda function, step function, and we store everything in DynamoDB and OpenSearch. This is a quick look of Storm. We use about 20 services on AWS platform, and we also built our website, Serverless 2, on AWS. So from now, everything, 95% of our workload runs on AWS.
Wow. So could you tell us a little bit more? I know that Storm runs on about 20 services. Your website does as well. But what are some of those main services? I know you mentioned DynamoDB, you mentioned OpenSearch. Why those services? What benefits have you seen from them?
The scalability. The main service is Lambda. We have around 200 Lambda functions. The scalability, it's incredible to see how we can get a traffic peak without being fear of something or of a downtime. I don't know. It's incredible. So the scalability, and if you put the scalability versus the cost, it's the best balance we can find. We also obviously use DynamoDB because we started before with RDS PostgreSQL, but it was it was like if we have developed something with the old-fashioned way to develop with a relational database, and on another side with a Lambda function that can scale a lot. So at the moment we decided to replace RDS by DynamoDB to have the same scalability power on Lambda and on DynamoDB. And this is that was the moment we started to say, okay, we will go full serverless because that is a good solution for us as a media. Because as a media, you have some time you don't need that much compute during the night, I don't know, and you don't know why on a Sunday night Kylian Mbappé will score a beautiful goal at the Stade de France, and you have a traffic peak, and you have to be okay, to be ready to respond to your reader. So the couple DynamoDB and Lambda is the best choice we made during the past year.
Yeah, that is super fascinating, and it's something that we see a lot of customers do is they have maybe some of those business needs, like you mentioned, traffic changes, different patterns change, and a serverless architecture can match that a little bit better. But sometimes the migration can be a little challenging, going from an RDS service or a relational database service all the way to a non-relational service. Did you have any learnings from that migration journey?
Of course, we did some mistakes. If you don't do mistakes, this is because you do nothing. We did some mistakes. I'm lucky. I have very good people in my team, very competent people in my team. So when we decided to move from a relational database to DynamoDB, that is a different concept. You have to rethink everything. You have to learn new things, and my VP engineering worked a lot during 3-6 months to design what will be our architecture with DynamoDB. And of course, we started with provisioned capacity, and we had some Sunday, Saturday where we had some peak, and the provisioned capacity can't handle it. So we moved to on-demand capacity on every table because the cost is almost the same, and it's the best way for us to have a resilient architecture.
That's really interesting. So you moved to on-demand mode from provision mode after you started building on provisions. Then you had a scaling event, and so you moved to on-demand mode to help accommodate those peaks in traffic, reduce the management, those things. Are there any other features? I know that the event-driven architectures are super important for Storm. And of course, Lambda is a big part of your architecture.
Yeah, of course. what I like in DynamoDB is the stream feature. If you want an event-driven architecture, it's impossible to work without Dynamo Stream. So we use Stream to invoke Lambda, to create event in EventBridge, to create message in SQS, SNS, to do a lot of things. Of course, we have a serverless architecture, but also an event-driven architecture. I don't like cron tab, the old way to do a scheduled operation. I just want the operation to be done when it's important that the operation has to be done. So when a journalist writes a content, I don't want the journalist having to wait 5 minutes to see its content to be pushed to a search engine. So he writes the content, he publishes the content, and it launch an event, to SQS that invoke Lambda, and then we can push the content to search engine. This is how we think in 20 minutes. We want an architecture that can live by itself, and we don't want to touch it when it runs. It's a little bit weird the way I explain that, but this is our mindset at 20 minutes.
What sort of business impact, whether it's innovation, more articles, has there been any business impact from your modernization?
Of course. As a media, we want to be the first to publish a content when there is a big news. So if you have a scheduled event, you have to wait 5 minutes when Kylian Mbappé scored the goal. Maybe another publisher will have pushed the news before you. But with an event-driven architecture, Kylian Mbappé scores the goal, you push the information, and everything is done in a second. Imagine, I'm talking of Kylian Mbappé, it's only football, but imagine in some big news impacting, I don't know, a war or something, it's really important for us, and be the first, or be in the first group as a media company. It's one of our main goal.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure the board is very happy that you took that very innovative approach way back when to say it is important that we build on cloud, and it is important that not just we build on a cloud, but also that we build with cloud-native architectures. So in addition to your innovation with Storm, I know that you've also been building out some generative AI. Generative AI has a lot of hype, but it also has a lot of uncertainty. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you learned from building with generative AI, and also what you built with it?
Yes, we started a few years ago in 2020. What I can say is don't overthink, just do it. I see a lot of CTOs thinking, analyzing, designing GenAI features. My idea is if you have a concept, just try, test, learn, iterate. This is the best way to see if it works. If you wait for the next model, if you wait for everything, you will wait months and months. The truth of today is not the truth of tomorrow. Everything is changing in generative AI. So test. This is my main advice I can share. And what we learn is we decided only to use GenAI to help our journalists to focus on their expertise. They have the knowledge. They can search, they can write, but sometimes there are some tasks they don't want to do, adding tags, adding links in the content, etc. So we developed some different use cases to help journalists to focus on their expertise. it works very well because we have 100% adoption in the newsroom. We have some journalists every day sending some message to us. It's a great feature. They were happy to be part of the team that built the feature because we are not a tech team attached to a marketing team. We wanted to create use cases, GenAI use cases, useful for them. So they were the product owner, the stack owner. So my advice is test, and my experience is since we test, learn, and iterate, we encounter success on every use cases we have developed with GenAI.
It's spoken like a true builder. To don't just read about generative AI, don't just listen to people's takes on it, but actually just go try to build. And so how would you recommend to anyone out there listening who's thinking, well, now I want to go build a generative AI, how would you pick a use case?
Focus on your business. Find the best use case for your business. Focus on the data. It's important to give to the model the right data for your use case. For us, it was easy because we use Amazon Bedrock. It's easy for us to choose a model of the marketplace, to switch from a model to another. We use Claude. We also use Mistral because it's a really good model. It's important for us to support French innovation. You can choose, you know the number better than I do, but we can choose between 20, 30 model in Bedrock. So try to use Bedrock. It's a simple API call. Work on your prompt, on your prompt, and just test it. You can test it in the console. You can test with an API call. It's easy as I said. The time we are taking here to speak is the time we used to try the first use case at 20 minutes. So just try.
Yeah, I think that was the most amazing thing to me too, is seeing that you can literally just go into the console, even go to Bedrock and just start playing with the model. Then if the rest of your data is already on AWS, then like you said, you can start bringing your data into it and actually see what the results are. It's kind of crazy how simple it is to actually get some experience with it. So you mentioned something really interesting, that the data for the model is important. Something that we hear about all the time, but what data did you actually provide the model with, and how did you figure out what the best data was for the model?
In our case, the best data was content because we provide AI tool to our journalists to improve the way they use the information they have to create content. So we mostly use contents. So our contents are in DynamoDB and OpenSearch. But we also have a use case with advertising. We use advertising data to improve the performances of an ad on an article. Just find the right data. If you have the right data in AWS and you have Amazon Bedrock, it's easy to connect everything. If you put a Lambda in the middle, it's 5 days, 10 days of work, and you have something that runs well. And it's crazy to see that you can iterate easily, day by day, and improve your prompt. That's the way we do at 20 minutes, and I think everything can do the same.
Well, Aurélien, thank you so much. The best part of my job is getting to see how our customers innovate and the way that they use technology in such incredible ways like you're describing. It would be amazing if you could maybe just leave us with 1, 2, or 3 pieces of advice for any other people who want to start learning about building modern data platforms, building generative AI, or anything else about the cloud journey.
Thank you for having me today. Some advice, as I said, don't overthink, just do it. focus on the data if you want to do GenAI. And if you want to go serverless, don't be afraid of the top management, because they will be happy to see the result later.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.